Welcome back, Astartes. Let's talk about weapons and the ones that you should focus on early in the game so that you save yourself a little bit of pain, a little bit of time later. There are several weapons that have overlap between multiple classes. These are the ones that ideally you really want to focus on because that's going to help you with your leveling process when you do eventually move on to a different character. And some of these weapons are just too freaking good to pass up early on. The very first weapon that I want to cover today is the simple bolt pistol. And there's a very good reason why we want to cover the bolt pistol. There's a good reason why we want to level this one up early. First and foremost, it's on every class, every single class. If you level this up, you will always have a decent sidearm on all of your classes, no matter what you're playing and when you're playing it. On top of that, the bolt pistol does actually have some pretty solid utility once you get later down its perk tree. You're going to get multiple perks that will increase its headshot potential and headshot damage, but then beyond that, you have Elite Hunter. After killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a melee weapon, headshots deal 50% more damage for 5 seconds, and yes, this does stack on top of the other headshot modifiers, and on top of any headshot modifiers you have in your general class perk tree as well. So you can actually completely delete even majors with just your sidearm in this game. Once you level this thing up, it will make very short work of majors. And this is especially true if you're running like Tactical, which has a perk in its perk tree that makes it so that when you switch to your sidearm, it will just do 20% more damage until you reload or stow it. And you can just like switch to your primary weapon and switch right back and reactivate that 20% buff. And so you're just going to be dealing significant amounts of headshot damage. And then even if you take this all the way to the end of the perk tree, you're going to get increased accuracy from the hip. So you can just stand there and spray majors down from the hip with this thing and absolutely delete them. So I highly recommend take the time to level up your bolt pistol. It goes on all the classes and it does insane DPS against majors once you've leveled it up. So that is the first weapon on the list. Moving on to weapon number 2. This should surprise absolutely nobody, but we have the Melta Rifle. This thing it's just completely absurd. It really is completely absurd. It's actually bugged right now. It's giving you more health back on damage than it's supposed to be giving you. And like I said, damage, not kill. You could barrel stuff a major, an extreme, a terminus to your enemy. And as long as you are dishing out damage, boom, 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 with this thing, it will overheal you past the limits of your white HP that has been cut. So you can face tank basically anything with the Melta Rifle. It is not only just great at clearing out ads and like trash mobs, but on top of that, it has elusive fire once you get later in the perk tree. After a perfectly timed dodge, fire rate increases by 25% for 5 seconds. Now this is a boss killer. Not just a boss killer, but also terminus killers, elite killers, and major killers. It covers all of them. All of these things have big windups on big attacks. Getting a perfectly timed dodge is an easy thing to do, especially if you have perks in your perk tree for your class. It's going to extend the perfect dodge window for you. So after a perfect dodge, you're going to want to just dump a ton of ammo into that big enemy with the Melta Rifle, and you're just going to absolutely melt things. If you were to couple this with specifically the Vanguard or the Tactical class, there are some crazy applications to this that synergize very well with the perks that exist in the perk trees for those classes. So definitely level up your Melta Rifle. This is lovingly been dubbed the pimp hand of the Emperor, and that is a name that it rightfully has earned. Moving on to weapon number 3. This is going to be the chainsword. There's a very good reason for that. Everything has the chainsword, except for obviously the heavy, which doesn't have a melee weapon, and the sniper class. But the other 4 will have access to the chainsword. And the chainsword is actually pretty solid once you level it up at not just single target damage, because you have the perks that give it more damage against chaos enemies and Tyranid enemies, but then you can also get the perk that will give it 10% more damage against majors, which is what obviously you're going to be using your melee weapon the most on. But then beyond that, you've got 2 perks in the perk tree for the chainsword that increase the radius of your stomp attack by 50%, and that stomp attack is light, heavy. So 3 lights and then a heavy attack will do a stomp, and that'll clear a lot of the ads around you. It's a great ad clearing combo. But then you also have trampling stride. Once you've also increased the radius by 50%, you can get a second stomp. So you can go light, 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 stomp, stomp, and just absolutely decimate anything in like a 3-meter radius around you. It's pretty absurd. So highly recommend you level up the chainsword because it carries over between class to class to class to class. So it has lots of applications, is extremely versatile, and it will save you a lot of heartache once you switch to a different class. The fourth weapon that I want to cover today is going to be the Incinerator Rifle. Now, this one is unique to Tactical, but I did want to talk about it just because Tactical is, I think, the most versatile class in the game, right? It doesn't like absolutely exceed. It's not the best of the best at any one thing, but it's also not the worst at anything. It is like comfortably B+ material. I have maxed out my Tactical class as well. It's one of the classes that I have maxed out. So I have the full access to the full tree. It's extremely good, honestly, at like highlighting majors, extremes, and terminus enemies, and letting your team do extra damage to those things as well as you. But beyond that, it is the only class that has access to the Plasma Incinerator Rifle. And this thing is actually pretty good. It's kind of tricky at the lower levels, but once you level it up, you're really going to get access to some killer perks. You're going to start to increase the radius of the heavy charged projectiles. So your charge shots are going to have a wider area of effect, which is great for clearing trash mobs. But beyond that, this gun is really versatile. It's good at, not like I just said, clearing trash mobs, but also does big damage to majors and also terminus enemies and extreme enemies as well. So you do the charge shot on anything big, absolutely. But then also, one of the things I love about this weapon is that it allows you to face tank things the same way that the Melta Rifle can do. Like with a Melta, you can just barrel stuff things and just keep topping off your health. Well, the same thing applies to the Plasma Incinerator. If you do the charge shot at your feet when you were getting completely overrun and overwhelmed by little miners especially, I wish they would pick a different word because it just sounds weird when I said when you're getting surrounded by miners, but that's neither here nor there. But if you do the charge shot at your feet and you're clearing these trash mobs, you're going to overheal past your limits, just like you can with the Melta Rifle. And so this is really good at helping you stay alive. But then also, like I said, whenever you have a big enemy on the field, you can do the charge shots on them as well, and that will do some serious damage and take them down pretty quickly. And this synergizes quite well with several perks in the Tactical skill tree. Some of them make it so that your charged up weapons like the Plasma Incinerator will do extra damage once they are like 50% overheated. And one of the biggest pain points of the weapon is actually the projectile travel speed. You got to lead your shots a little bit. But once you get later in the skill tree, you're going to be able to increase the projectile speed of your projectiles, both the charge shots and common shots, by 25% and up to 50%. So they travel much more like a hit scan weapon. And that makes this thing just all around extremely versatile and a solid pick for tacticals. Let's move on to the sniper class. I'm just now starting to level up the sniper class. I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. But when I farm the relic tier, ruthless, hardest difficulty level operations, I do so with my buddies. One of them is always a sniper. And I have seen what this man can do with a Lasfusel, and some people tell me no, it's actually pronounced Ladfusel, and if that's how you want to say it, that's totally fine. But I do not care. But anyways, the Lasfusel can do some incredible damage output against single targets. So it's going to delete majors. It's going to delete, especially these, the two kinds of floating around flying Tyranid enemies, the Terminus level enemy and the extreme tier enemy. I don't know. They're like, I have 60 hours in this game and I constantly forget the names of these bosses. I don't know. It's like a protozoan or something. I don't freaking know. But it flies around. And this thing will take it down in just a couple of shots. It's insane, the damage output on this charged up sniper rifle. But beyond that, there's also the infinite ammo glitch with this thing, which is nuts. And my buddies definitely are like, whoa, this is insane. What if I figured it out, like, unintentionally, shared it with a YouTuber buddy of mine named Fallout Plays, who then published that video, and that is why that bug, the infinite ammo bug in the Lasfusel, is starting to blow up right now. So anyways, that's my group, and we found this out because he was like just doing the rapid weapon swap and going straight back up to 26 ammo from 0. And he's like, well, okay, I guess I'm back to full ammo now. And all he needs is low health to do it. So he's like intentionally tanking damage early in the match, in the operation, just so he can have infinite ammo moving forward. And the way that he absolutely and I seriously mean it, deletes Terminus and Extremes is insane. And then obviously if we have a boss, oh my gosh, there's just no point. There's no point. like the freaking Hive Tyrant, it's just over immediately, especially if you do like an Auspex scan with a tactical and then he starts dumping into it with his Lost Fusel infinite ammo. It's just insane amounts of damage, guys. Insane. So I will tell you this, I have not fully leveled this thing up yet. I've just started to level up my sniper class because I maxed out Vanguard and then I maxed out Tactical and then I started leveling up Heavy and now Sniper as well. So those are the next 2 that I'm juggling. But I can tell you from firsthand experience, watching my buddies use the Lost Fusel, this is what you want to level up if you are a sniper right now. Until they nerf this thing, this is the creme de la creme. And again, if you want to see that infinite ammo, I think I say glitch. I think it's a glitch. I feel like it's got to be a glitch. That can't be intentional. I don't know if you want to exploit things like that. It's entirely up to you. Until they come out and say, this is a glitch, this is an exploit, we don't want you to do it. It's fair game as far as I'm concerned. And eventually they might patch it, but until they do, I mean, this is your best option. If you're a sniper who wants to use your sniper and doesn't want to have to battle the ammo economy, issues that you face at higher difficulties, that's the play. And there you have it. Those are the top 5 weapons that I think you got to level up right now. Focus on these first and foremost. Honorable mention, if you are a heavy, you have several great options. Honestly, the heavy has no bad choice, but the multi-melta, hey, if you're a heavy and you're like, why didn't you talk about us? Just use the multi-melta, man, you'll be fine. That thing's going to blast through all adds, all majors, extremes, whatever. You'll be fine with the multi-melta. Anyways, neither here nor there. Hey, thank you so much for tuning into the video today. I appreciate each and every one of you, especially the, now 500 plus new subs to the channel since we started covering this game. Thank you so much for your support and your viewership. It means a lot to me. If you enjoyed the video in any capacity, then feel free to leave a like on it, as that is the best free way to support the content right here on YouTube. And consider hitting the subscribe button if you have not already, so that you can see when we post any and all new Space Marine 2 content. Be warm and well fed, my friends. Honor and courage, brothers. Bye-bye.